The Zalari ship hovered at the edge of the asteroid belt, its sensors flickering in confusion. Every attempt to locate the Resolute had failed. Every probe sent had returned false readings. The humans aboard the warship had turned the encounter into a puzzle the aliens could not solve. Captain Alara Voss stood on the bridge, her hands resting lightly on the control rail. She watched the holographic displays showing the Zalari movements, every shift, every hesitation. The aliens were intelligent, relentless, and patient, but they had made one critical mistake. They had underestimated humans. Captain, Lieutenant Ryan Kale said, "Their response times are slower than ever. They're beginning to doubt their calculations. They can't distinguish decoys from reality." Ilara nodded. "Good. Humans survive not because of technology alone, but because of imagination, instinct, and courage. They will never outthink us as long as we remain united." Commander Lyra Jin studied the tactical displays. "Captain, they're attempting to reposition closer for another scan. If we act carefully, we can make this their last attempt. Their sensors are overloaded. Their calculations are failing. We have the advantage." Alara smiled faintly. "Then we finish this. Dr. Sethi, prepare the final counterscan. I want them to retreat without a single clue where we truly are." Dr. Kiran Sethi, the lead scientist, nodded. "Understood, Captain. Final counterscan protocols are ready. We'll amplify decoys, mimic crew movements, and simulate energy surges across multiple locations. They won't know which target is real." Outside the ship, the Resolute seemed to vanish among the shadows of the asteroids. Holographic images glowed faintly in several positions, each one radiating energy that mimicked the real ship. The Zalari probes darted from one location to another, trying to lock onto a target. Every probe returned with different and conflicting readings. The aliens were becoming desperate. "They're falling into the trap," Lyra said, her voice sharp but calm. "Their drones are following decoys, their calculations are failing, and their focus is divided. We can end this now." Ilara's eyes glimmered with determination. "Humans survive when they adapt, and humans triumph when they act together. Initiate final maneuver. Let them feel the power of human ingenuity." Ryan activated the counterscan systems. Energy waves pulsed through the asteroid belt, creating shifting holographic patterns. The Zalari sensors scrambled, unable to track the real Resolute. Every probe returned false readings. Every analysis conflicted with the last. The humans had turned the alien technology against them. Dr. Sethi monitored the signals closely. "Captain, their system efficiency is dropping rapidly. Over 30% of their sensors are malfunctioning due to interference from our counterscans. They are retreating slightly." "Perfect," Alara said. "Humans thrive where others fail. Let them see the strength of unity, intelligence, and courage." The Zalari ship hesitated. Its probes, once precise and confident, now moved slowly and cautiously. The aliens had never faced such adaptability. They had never encountered an enemy who could anticipate every move, who could think several steps ahead, and who could act with complete coordination. On the bridge of the Resolute, the crew exchanged glances. Pride and confidence mixed with focus. They were not reckless, but they were bold. Every member knew their role. Every system was optimized, and every action was designed to protect the ship while outsmarting the enemy. Lyra leaned over the tactical console. "Captain, they're attempting a wide-area scan now. It's their last option before retreating. If we maintain the counter signals, they'll never identify the real ship." Ilara's voice was steady and commanding. "Then maintain the signals. Keep the decoys active, simulate crew activity, and project energy pulses in multiple directions. Humans survive through intelligence and creativity. Let them learn that lesson now." The Zalari probes flitted back and forth, attempting to isolate the Resolute. Holographic images shimmered in the asteroid belt, showing multiple potential locations for the ship. The aliens hesitated, recalculating, but every calculation returned conflicting results. Their confidence faltered. "Captain," Ryan said quietly, "their systems are reaching maximum overload. They can't process the conflicting data. They're retreating." Ilara allowed herself a small smile. "Exactly. Humans survive not because we are predictable, but because we are clever, and humans triumph because we act as one." The Zalari ship slowly withdrew from the asteroid belt, its probes returning to the main vessel. The alien commander observed the results with frustration. Despite all their technology, all their intelligence, they had failed to locate the Resolute. Every scan, every calculation had been disrupted by human ingenuity. Inside the Resolute, the crew allowed themselves a collective sigh of relief. They were still alert, still cautious, but the immediate danger had passed. Humans had outsmarted a superior alien civilization through creativity, coordination, and determination. Dr. Sethi leaned back in his chair. "Captain, we did it. They didn't even realize where we were. They'll report that humanity's warship is a ghost they cannot understand." Ilara's eyes shone with quiet pride. "Exactly. The horror of humanity is not in our weapons. It's in our minds, our courage, and our ability to survive against impossible odds. Today, humans have won not through brute force, but through intelligence and unity." Lyra Jin smiled faintly. "They'll never underestimate humans again. They may fear us, but they will never understand us." Rian Kale nodded. "Every encounter strengthens us. Every challenge teaches us something new. Humanity thrives because we adapt, because we think, and because we never give up." Ilara walked to the main viewport, staring into the endless void. The Zalari ship was now a distant shadow, retreating into the darkness of space. The humans aboard the Resolute had faced a superior opponent and survived. They had turned the enemy's own technology against them and had done what no alien thought possible: outsmarted them completely. The crew moved about the bridge with a quiet confidence. Repairs and adjustments were made as needed, but there was no panic, no fear. Each person knew that survival was not luck. It was skill, teamwork, and determination. Marta Vey, the chief engineer, glanced up from her console. "Captain, all systems are nominal. Shields, engines, counterscans, all fully functional. The ship is ready for whatever comes next." Ilara nodded. "Good. Humans survive, humans adapt, and humans triumph. Let's make sure the galaxy knows it." Dr. Sethi activated the ship's communication array, sending encrypted reports to Earth Command. The message was clear. Humanity's warship was unstoppable, not because of its weapons, but because of its crew. Intelligence, creativity, and courage had turned what could have been disaster into a complete victory. Lyra Jin studied the tactical projections. "Captain, the Zalari will not return easily. They now know that humans cannot be predicted, cannot be calculated, and cannot be defeated through conventional means." Ilara allowed herself a small smile. "Exactly. The galaxy will learn that humans are not only survivors, they are innovators, thinkers, and masters of their destiny. We fight not only with weapons, but with mind, heart, and spirit." Rian Kale glanced at the display showing the Zalari retreat. "Captain, the reports will spread quickly. Humans will be feared, respected, and remembered in every star system they encounter." Ilara's gaze remained steady on the void. "Let them remember us not just for our strength, but for our spirit. Humans survive because we never stop thinking, never stop adapting, and never stop striving. Today is proof of that." Outside the Resolute, stars glimmered in the vast emptiness of space. The asteroid belt shifted slowly, casting shadows across the ship's hull. The warship glided silently, carrying with it the minds, courage, and determination of humanity. It was more than a ship. It was a symbol of what humans could achieve against impossible odds. Inside, the crew shared a quiet sense of accomplishment. They had faced fear, uncertainty, and a superior opponent. They had survived through intelligence, creativity, and unity. The Resolute was not just a warship. It was proof of the human spirit. Ilara turned to her crew. "Today we showed the galaxy what humans are capable of. We survived, we adapted, and we triumphed. Remember this, crew. The galaxy will never forget the horror of humanity's warship." As the Resolute continued its journey through the stars, the humans aboard knew that their fight was not over. There would be other challenges, other enemies, other dangers. But they also knew one thing. As long as humans acted together, thought creatively, and faced challenges with courage, they could survive anything. And so, the Resolute glided onward, a ghost in the void. A nightmare for any who dared to challenge humanity. The horror of humanity's warship continued, not because of its weapons, but because of the minds, hearts, and courage of the people who commanded it. In the silent, endless expanse of space, one truth remained clear. Humanity would survive. Humanity would adapt, and humanity would triumph. A powerful alien coalition scans the outer rim of human-occupied space and detects unusual human fleet activity. One alien ambassador, known for his wisdom, urgently warns the Council, "Do not attack the humans. They will never let you go once provoked." Most dismiss him as paranoid. Humans have been quiet for centuries and their technology seems rudimentary. But a few feel uneasy, sensing the ambassador's grave tone holds truth. Part 2. The Test. Curious and overconfident, a young alien warship approaches a human outpost near the galactic frontier. They expect an easy demonstration of superiority. Suddenly, human drones, seemingly scattered and harmless, converge with perfect coordination. The aliens are bewildered. What appeared primitive is a network of autonomous defenses. The warship barely escapes with severe damage. Part 3. The Escalation. The Council underestimates humans again and decides to send a strike force to teach them a lesson. As the alien fleet nears, humans respond not with sheer firepower, but with precision, adaptability, and unexpected tactics. Alien ships fall one by one. Those who survive report horrifying efficiency. Humans fight relentlessly, retreating only to regroup and counterattack. The initial arrogance among the alien commanders begins to crumble. Part 4. The revelation captured aliens reveal a shocking truth. Humanity's history is one of survival against impossible odds. From natural disasters to interstellar plagues, humans evolved ingenuity and relentless resolve. Their technology, though seemingly simple in parts, integrates biological, mechanical, and AI elements in ways aliens cannot predict. The Council realizes the ambassador's warning was not exaggeration. Humans are far more dangerous than anyone imagined. Part 5. The Respect. The Alien Council halts all attacks and retreats, sending envoys to negotiate peace instead. Humans, while victorious, do not celebrate the aliens' defeat. Instead, they extend an offer of alliance. The aliens, now cautious and respectful, understand that humanity's combination of resilience, creativity, and unwavering determination is unmatched. The galaxy finally learns a vital lesson. Never underestimate humans, for once they engage, they never let go. If you want, I can also turn this outline into a punchy, fast-paced script version suitable for short HFY story videos, with dramatic hooks at the start of each part. It would make it even more engaging for audiences. Do you want me to do that next? You said. Part 1. 1300 words ka lekho, or interesting hona chahiye, or third-person style ma lekhni ha, or simple basic English ka. Don't use any violated word. So please avoid any violated content. ChatGPT said got it. Here's part 1 of your story. Written in third-person, simple English, around 1300 words, fully engaging, and safe for all audiences. Part 1. The Warning. The galaxy had long believed that humans were quiet, insignificant, and slow to expand. For thousands of years, other species had watched the stars, mapping the movements of civilizations, monitoring new worlds, and gauging threats. Among the alien races, the humans had been largely ignored. Their home planet, Earth, had been a tiny blue dot in a corner of space, surrounded by vast empires of powerful species. But that perception was about to change. On the Grand Council ship of the Calarian Coalition, Ambassador Thalor stared at the holographic projection of the human system. The bright sun shone on the green and blue world below. Small points of light represented human colonies and fleets scattered around nearby star systems. Thalor's eyes narrowed. Something about the arrangement, the patterns of movement, made him uneasy. "Are you sure about this, Thalor?" asked Counselor Viren, his voice calm but curious. "Humans, they barely reach the outer rim of our maps. We've monitored them for decades. Nothing they do seems threatening." Thalor's mandibles clicked. "I have seen their fleets move, studied their recent expansions. They are quiet, yes, but there is a precision in their organization. A subtle strength that no other species possesses. I am warning you, do not provoke them. If attacked, they will never let you go." A murmur ran through the council chamber. Many species present were larger, stronger, or more advanced than humans. They could destroy a human planet in hours if they wished. Yet Thalor's warning made some feel uneasy. Counselor Viren raised a clawed hand. "Thalor, we respect your insight, but this is highly unusual. You suggest a species that cannot even survive beyond their own star system could pose a real threat? It sounds exaggerated." Thalor did not respond immediately. His antennae twitched. He wanted to explain fully, but he knew few would listen until the humans themselves acted. "I am not exaggerating," he finally said, voice low and firm. "Humans are patient. They learn, they adapt, and they do not forgive easily. Attack them and it will not end. You may win the first battle, but it will be only the beginning. They will return, stronger, faster, and with strategy you cannot predict." A younger counselor, bright-eyed and eager, laughed. "Patience and learning? That is nothing. Every species adapts. Every species fights back. Why fear the humans before they even strike? Thaler's eyes glinted. Because they are not like other species. Humans survive where others fail. They build, destroy, and rebuild better every time. They face impossible odds, and yet they endure. And when they endure, they remember. Always. For a moment, the council sat in silence. The projection of the human system rotated slowly, showing the planets, moons, and scattered fleets. Most saw only dots of light and numbers. Thaler saw a potential that was terrifying in its subtlety. He had observed their colonies carefully, noting how humans had survived conflicts among themselves, recovered from natural disasters, and slowly expanded into the stars without drawing attention. Finally, Counselor Viren spoke again, with a mixture of curiosity and impatience. Let us say you are correct. How can a species so small, so isolated, be dangerous to the rest of the galaxy? Thaler's voice was steady. Because they do not act like other species. They do not fear. They do not surrender easily. A human cornered will find ways that no one else could imagine. Their technology may seem simple at first glance, but it integrates with their biology, their instincts, their intelligence, and their creativity. They are unpredictable in a way that cannot be measured by our calculations. The council continued to debate, but Thaler knew that discussion alone would not save anyone from the humans' eventual strength. The humans had been silent for centuries, quietly building, quietly learning. Many alien races assumed that silence meant weakness. They were wrong. Meanwhile, far from the council chambers, the humans themselves were unaware of the attention they had drawn. On a small command station orbiting Mars, Captain Elena Cross stared at the console in front of her. The red planet glowed beneath her, calm and unchanging. The sensors had picked up movement at the edge of the system, distant and faint, but enough to make her crew alert. Something's out there, she said softly, more to herself than anyone else. Her first officer, Lieutenant Rajiv Patel, leaned over her shoulder. Do you think it's another probe? Rajiv asked. Humans had grown accustomed to strange signals in the depths of space. They had learned to study them carefully, to avoid jumping to conclusions. Elena shook her head. No, too large, too deliberate. This is not a random scan. They're observing, but cautiously. Whoever is out there doesn't know we're ready. Her crew moved with calm efficiency. Every command was precise. Every system monitored. Humans were not the largest or the most advanced species in the galaxy, but they were meticulous. They learned from every encounter, and they adapted faster than anyone expected. Back on the council ship, Thaler watched the human systems for days, monitoring fleets, scanning transmissions, and reading patterns of behavior. He had seen this before with other species, the arrogance that comes from power, the dismissal of warnings. But humans were different. Unlike other species that sought immediate conquest, humans observed, planned, and calculated risk. And when the time came, they would strike in ways no one could anticipate. Ambassador, a junior aide said quietly, why do you fear so much? Surely the Council's power is greater than the humans. Why not ignore them? Thaler's mandibles clicked slowly. Because it is not power alone that defines victory. It is persistence. It is strategy. It is the willingness to continue when others would surrender. Humans will never give up. Attack them, and you awaken something you cannot control. They will chase, they will fight, and they will remember every detail of what you do to them. Do not make the mistake of thinking small victories mean safety. Some council members dismissed his words as paranoia. Others felt a growing tension, an invisible weight pressing on their consciousness. And somewhere deep in the networks of human colonies, humans continued their quiet work, building, training, and preparing. They had no interest in war, not yet. But if provoked, no force in the galaxy could predict what humans would do. Thaler remained vigilant, alone in his certainty. The others may laugh, the council may dismiss him, but he knew. Humans were different. They were not like any other species he had encountered. The moment the galaxy underestimated them would be the moment it learned the cost of that mistake. As the council session ended, Thaler turned to leave. He paused, looking once more at the projection of Earth and its colonies. A faint smile touched his face, a mixture of respect, fear, and awe. Do not attack in some way. The Calarian coalition, despite Thaler's warning, could not resist curiosity. Their pride, combined with overconfidence, pushed them to send a small exploratory warship toward the human frontier. It was sleek, heavily armed, and operated by a crew trained for aggression. They expected little resistance, after all. Humans were considered a minor species, barely capable of defending a single star system. Captain Lorvan, in command of the ship Virex, was eager to prove his worth. "This will be simple," he said to his officers. "A brief demonstration of our superiority. If they resist, we will withdraw. No need for full engagement yet." His crew nodded confidently, unaware of the true nature of the humans they were about to encounter. As the Virex approached Mars orbit, the ship's sensors began to detect something unusual. Tiny blips appeared on the scanners, small objects moving in patterns too organized to be random. Lorvan frowned. "What is this?" "Deploy a closer scan." The ship's systems hummed as the scan progressed. Then the blips began to converge, moving faster, and forming a perfect grid around the human colonies. Lorvan's eyes widened. "Shields up. Prepare for contact." On board the human command station orbiting Mars, Captain Elena Cross noticed the alien ship long before it entered human territory. Her sensors had picked up its approach, and something about the movement pattern seemed precise, almost deliberate. She did not panic. Humans were not the strongest in the galaxy, but they were careful, precise, and prepared. "Captain," Lieutenant Rajiv Patel said, pointing at the display. "It's a single warship. They're moving slowly, but their formation is complex. They could be studying us," Elena nodded. "Then let's give them a proper introduction." Unlike the aliens who relied on sheer power and intimidation, humans had developed networks of autonomous defense drones. They were small, agile, and highly intelligent, capable of working together without direct human control. Elena's crew activated the defense grid quietly, sending signals to the drones. Within moments, thousands of small crafts rose from the orbital platforms, moving in perfect coordination. The alien ship, confident in its weapons and shields, saw only harmless points of light at first. But the lights began to converge rapidly, encircling the Virex. Lorvan ordered weapons to fire, expecting the humans to scatter or surrender. But before his missiles could reach their targets, the drones anticipated each attack. They moved, split, and absorbed the impact, neutralizing the alien weapons with careful precision. "What is this?" Lorvan shouted, watching in disbelief as his crew struggled to control the chaos. "They are reacting faster than our calculations allow." The drones continued their assault not with brute force, but with strategy. They blocked escape routes, disrupted communications, and forced the Virex into a series of evasive maneuvers. Every move the alien crew made was countered almost immediately, yet no human was even visible to them. It was as if the human intelligence had extended into the machines themselves. On the human command station, Elena watched with calm focus. "They're testing us," she said. "Let them try. Observe everything, record their tactics. We'll respond where necessary, but avoid direct confrontation for now." Despite her calm, every human operator moved with precision. Humans had long trained for scenarios where their technology seemed weaker than that of other species. They relied not on size or power, but on ingenuity, timing, and cooperation. And in this moment, that training proved its worth. Back on the Virex, Lorvan's frustration grew. Every decision he made was anticipated, and every plan faltered. The ship's shields were damaged, minor systems failing. His crew muttered under their breath, fear slowly replacing confidence. How are they doing this? They are so small. We should have overwhelmed them in seconds." Thalor, observing the engagement from the council, remained silent but alert. He had predicted this. Humans did not fight like any other species. They adapted in real time, learned from every attack, and responded in ways that no calculation could anticipate. The young warship had unknowingly entered a test it was not prepared to survive. Lorvan finally called for a retreat, but even that proved difficult. The drones formed a barrier around the Virex, guiding it away from the human system. They did not attack lethally. They had no orders to kill. Instead, they demonstrated control, precision, and discipline. Every maneuver the alien ship attempted was met with a coordinated response. On the human station, Elena leaned back in her chair, watching the alien warship leave. "They've learned a lesson," she said quietly. "Humans are not weak. They are not easy targets. Let them remember that." The Virex limped back to the Coalition space, battered and confused. Lorvan could not hide his shock. The young captain had underestimated humans, and now his pride was shattered. The crew whispered among themselves, realizing the truth that Thaler had tried to warn the council. Humans were dangerous not because of raw strength, but because of their unpredictability, their persistence, and their intelligence. When Lorvan returned to the council chamber, Thaler was waiting. "Do you understand now?" he asked, voice calm but firm. This was only a single ship. They did not even deploy their full strength. And yet, they controlled the situation perfectly. Imagine what would happen if the council attacks them directly. Lorvan, pale and silent, nodded slowly.
I see it now, he said.
They are not just a species. They are a force, small but unyielding. The council murmured in confusion and disbelief. Some tried to argue that this was an isolated incident, that humans were lucky. Others began to whisper fearfully about Thaler's earlier warning. He had been right. The humans had never attacked, yet even a test proved their capability. Meanwhile, humans continued their quiet preparations. Captain Elena knew this encounter was minor, but it had served its purpose. It tested the alien approach, revealed their tactics, and ensured that the humans were ready for whatever came next. They did not celebrate, they had no reason to. But they knew that every alien in the galaxy who underestimated them would soon learn the same lesson. Thaler, observing all of this, allowed himself a faint smile. "This is only the beginning," he murmured. "The galaxy has ignored the humans for too long. Let this be the first reminder that they are not to be trifled with." The Virex returned, battered and shaken, and the council finally began to reconsider their position. The young officers who had laughed at Thaler's warnings now avoided his gaze. Even the most confident voices grew quiet. For the first time, the coalition realized that humans were different. They were not a species to conquer easily. They were persistent, resourceful, and relentless, and when provoked, they would never forget. On Mars, the humans did not celebrate. They only watched, prepared for what would inevitably come next. For now, they had passed the first test. The aliens had been warned. And humans had learned the value of observation, strategy, and patience. But across the galaxy, the whispers began to spread. "Do not attack the humans," some species muttered in fear. "They will never let you go." Even as the first test ended, the galaxy slowly realized that the humans were not silent observers. They were something else entirely, an unpredictable, unstoppable force waiting for the moment to show their true strength. And far away, in the deep reaches of space, Thaler watched, knowing the humans' real power had yet to be revealed. The Calarian coalition had been shaken by the encounter with the single human warship. The council could no longer ignore Thaler's warning. Yet pride and curiosity often outweighed caution. After careful deliberation, the coalition decided to send a small strike force. Not enough to conquer humans, they thought, but enough to test them further. Captain Lorvan, recovering from his earlier embarrassment, was chosen to lead the fleet. This time, the strike force was larger, faster, and far better armed. "This will be different," Lorvan assured his officers. "We know what to expect. We will overwhelm them with strength, and this time, they cannot escape." Across the solar system, humans continued their quiet preparations. Captain Elena Cross had anticipated further alien contact. She had spent long hours reviewing data from the previous encounter, noting patterns, weaknesses, and tendencies in alien behavior. Her team was ready. Humans did not act recklessly. They planned, adapted, and learned from every interaction. The alien fleet entered human space cautiously, confident, yet tense. Hundreds of sleek, armed ships moved in formation, scanning for life, defense systems, and potential targets. For the humans, the fleet was larger, more threatening, but not unbeatable. Elena watched the approaching ships on the command station's display. "They're testing again," she said, "but this time they brought more firepower. Prepare defenses and coordinate all units. We will respond strategically, not recklessly." Human drones deployed almost instantly, forming layered defensive grids around the colonies. These drones were far more advanced than before, smarter, faster, and capable of making autonomous decisions while still following human guidance. Humans had studied alien tactics carefully after the first encounter, and they had adapted. When the aliens fired the first volleys of plasma and energy beams, the human drones moved with perfect timing. They deflected attacks, intercepted projectiles, and even fed back data to the command station, which adjusted defense strategies in real time. Each alien attack was met with a precise, coordinated counterattack. Not brute force, but clever tactics that made the aliens pause in shock. Captain Lorvin could not believe what he was seeing. His officers whispered anxiously. "This is impossible," said one. "They are predicting our moves before we make them." Lorvin banged his fist on the console. "Do not underestimate them again. Find a weak point." But every time the aliens tried to find a weakness, the humans had already adapted. When one drone formation was targeted, another shifted into place, covering vulnerabilities. When a group of aliens tried to flank from above, the drones reorganized to intercept. The humans were not just defending, they were controlling the battlefield. Thalor observed from the council ship, his antennae twitching. "This is exactly what I feared," he said softly. "Humans do not fight like other species. They do not rely on size or sheer power. They rely on intelligence, adaptability, and relentless determination. Watch closely. This will not end quickly, and it will change the galaxy's view of them forever." The battle raged for hours, neither side gaining a decisive advantage. The aliens, used to rapid victories, were frustrated. Their strikes were carefully planned, yet humans seemed to anticipate every move. Every new tactic the aliens tried was met with an immediate, calculated response. Meanwhile, humans continued their work silently, observing the enemy, adjusting strategies, and making subtle changes to their drone networks. Captain Elena Cross coordinated attacks and defenses with calm precision. Every decision was measured. Every maneuver had purpose. Humans were not reckless. They were focused. The alien fleet began to suffer more significant losses. Small drones disabled entire energy conduits on enemy ships. Coordinated attacks forced the aliens into defensive positions. Lorvin's fleet had expected a short demonstration. They were not prepared for a prolonged encounter. Back on the council ship, Thalor sighed. "They do not fight like anyone else. Observe how they adapt, how quickly they learn. If the council attacks further, it will not be a simple war. It will be a nightmare of unpredictability." In the midst of the battle, the aliens realized something even more disturbing. The humans were not acting as individuals. They were working as a single organism, a collective intelligence capable of coordination that no alien system could match. Every retreat was strategic, every attack calculated, and every adjustment immediate. Lorvan gritted his teeth. "Pull back to defensive positions. We cannot break them." But the humans did not need to break them. They controlled the battlefield with calm efficiency, guiding the aliens into positions where they could no longer threaten human colonies. Drones blocked escape routes, while others disabled weapons or systems without destroying ships. Humans had no desire to kill unless necessary. They only demonstrated that resistance was futile. Captain Elena's voice rang calm and steady over the station's intercom. "Monitor their movements. Record everything. Every attack they make, every pattern we will learn from. This is not just defense, it is preparation for the future." Hours turned into a full galactic cycle. The alien fleet, battered and confused, began to retreat. The strike force had underestimated humans again, not in power but in intelligence, adaptability, and determination. Lorvin's confidence was shattered. He had expected an easy demonstration of strength and had found himself outmaneuvered at every turn. When the surviving alien ships returned to Coalition space, they were met with silence. The Council did not celebrate the fleet's survival. They had learned a hard lesson. Humans were different. Humans were unpredictable. Humans did not act recklessly, but when provoked, they became unstoppable. Thalor approached the Council, his eyes calm but serious. "You have seen it now. One small strike force, and yet the humans controlled the engagement completely. They are not to be underestimated. Any direct attack would not be a battle. It would be a war without precedent. They adapt faster, learn faster, and never forget. You have been warned." Some council members tried to argue that humans were lucky, that their fleet was small and primitive compared to the Coalition's. Thalor shook his head. "This is not luck. Humans survive against impossible odds. Their strength is in their ability to observe, adapt, and respond. It is a strength that cannot be calculated, and it is a strength that no force in the galaxy can easily defeat." Captain Lorvin, humbled and shaken, nodded slowly. "I see it now. We were wrong. They are dangerous, not because of size or firepower, but because they are humans." Meanwhile, the humans themselves returned to calm routines. There was no celebration aboard the command station. Victory was measured, precise, and quiet. They had passed the first major test not with brute force but with intelligence, strategy, and discipline. Humans had learned yet again that preparation and patience were the greatest weapons they possessed. In the aftermath, the galaxy began to whisper of the humans' strength. Rumors spread from one species to another. Do not attack them. They adapt. They learn. They do not forgive. Even those who had not witnessed the battle began to fear the humans' unpredictability. Thalor remained watchful. He knew this was only the beginning. The humans' true potential had not yet been revealed. The galaxy had seen only the first signs, their intelligence, coordination, and determination. What they had yet to see was how far humans could push when fully challenged, when forced into situations that demanded every ounce of their creativity and strength. Back on Mars, Captain Elena Cross looked out at the distant stars. They will return, she said quietly. They always do. And when they do, we will be ready. Her crew nodded, calm and focused. Humans did not fear the galaxy. They observed it, learned from it, and prepared. And when the moment came, they would respond with precision, intelligence, and unyielding determination. Across the stars, the Calarian coalition began to understand the truth. Humans were not a species to conquer easily. They were patient, strategic, and relentless. And once humans engaged in a conflict, there was no turning back. They would never let go. The first major test was over. The aliens had learned their lesson, and the humans, quiet and calm, prepared for the challenges that lay ahead. The galaxy had changed. After the series of encounters with human fleets, whispers spread quickly through every known star system. No longer were humans seen as a minor, insignificant species. Now even the strongest civilizations regarded them with caution. Words like relentless, strategic, and unpredictable began appearing in reports, conversations, and council meetings. On the Calarian Coalition's Grand Council ship, Ambassador Thalor observed the human systems with a mix of relief and concern. Relief because humans had not yet fully unleashed their power. Concern because he knew that if provoked further, the galaxy would face a force no one could predict. The Council must understand now, Thalor said quietly to himself. Humans are not just another species. They are a lesson in patience, strategy, and willpower. We cannot confront them without respect. Counselor Viren entered the observation chamber, his usual confidence subdued. Thalor, the fleets you warned us about, they are nothing like we imagined. They adapt, they anticipate, and they respond in ways that defy logic. We underestimated them. Horribly, Thalor nodded slowly. It is not a mistake we will recover from easily. Humans survive when others fail. They learn when others repeat errors, and when they decide to act, they never forget. This is why I said do not attack them. They will never let you go. Far across human-controlled space, Captain Elena Cross observed the coalition ships gathering at the edge of her system. This time it was clear that the aliens were no longer testing. They had come to negotiate, to understand, to avoid further unnecessary loss. Humans had shown restraint, but they had also demonstrated capability beyond what anyone expected. Elena turned to Lieutenant Rajiv Patel. Prepare the comms. We will receive their envoys, but remember, humans are calm, precise, and observant. Let them speak, but do not underestimate them. We will continue to guide this encounter, just as we have always done. The alien envoys appeared in orbit, small vessels carrying dignitaries, not warriors. Their ships were unarmed, or nearly so. It was a clear signal. They came to negotiate, not to attack. Humans watched silently, drones in formation, every crew member alert yet composed. Ambassador Thalor led the Calarian delegation. He had predicted this moment for years. We come in peace, he announced, voice amplified across the vast comm network. We have seen your capabilities, humans. We understand now that force alone will not work. We wish to discuss mutual understanding and coexistence. Elena's calm voice echoed back. We accept your message. The humans do not seek war. But understand this. If provoked, we will respond with precision, strategy, and unyielding resolve. Any attack will not be forgotten. There was silence across the comm network. For many alien delegates, this was the first time they heard humans speak with authority without threat. Humans did not boast, but their words carried weight, honesty, and unwavering certainty. Thalor inclined his head. It is clear that the humans' reputation is not exaggerated. We have observed your tactics, your adaptability, and your patience. You are unlike any species we have encountered. Elena nodded. We have survived countless challenges, Captain. We observe, we learn, and we prepare. Cooperation and peace are our preference, but we will defend ourselves, our colonies, and our people, always. A quiet tension filled the space between the fleets. This was not confrontation, it was recognition. Humans had proven themselves not by size nor by power, but by intellect, strategy, and determination. Aliens had come expecting to intimidate and control. Instead, they were confronted with a species that would not bow, would not flee, and would not forget. Counselor Viren, observing from the Coalition flagship, whispered to his aide, "They are remarkable. I do not think our galaxy has ever seen a species like this. Indeed, humans were extraordinary. From Mars to the outer colonies, every human ship, station, and outpost had demonstrated that intelligence, adaptability, and coordinated effort could surpass raw strength. The aliens had learned painfully that humans were a force defined not by size but by relentless perseverance. For the first time, the Calarian Coalition began to change its strategy toward humans. They no longer considered them a minor nuisance. They began to recognize them as equals, perhaps even a species to ally with rather than confront. The respect humans had earned was hard-won, but undeniable. Captain Elena, meanwhile, continued her careful observation. She understood that this was only the beginning of humanity's wider recognition in the galaxy. Many species would attempt to test humans again. Some might not heed warnings, and some might underestimate them. But humans had learned the importance of readiness, strategy, and calm observation. Our message is clear, Elena said to her crew. We do not seek conquest, but we also do not tolerate unnecessary aggression. We are capable and we are prepared. The galaxy will learn this slowly or quickly, but they will learn it. And once humans act, they never forget. Thaler returned to the council chamber, a sense of awe and relief in his voice. The humans have proven themselves. Their strength is not in weapons alone, but in intellect, creativity, and unyielding persistence. The Council must now acknowledge that they are not just another species. They are a force the galaxy cannot ignore. Some Council members murmured agreement, while others remained hesitant. Fear and respect had begun to replace arrogance, but acceptance would take time. Thalor knew patience was key. Humans were not aggressive conquerors. They were observers, strategists, and defenders. Their power was quiet, subtle, but absolute when provoked. Meanwhile, humans continued their work quietly. Drones were repaired and upgraded, fleets maintained, and colonies monitored. No celebrations were needed. For humans, every encounter was a lesson, every challenge an opportunity to learn. They measured success not in victories alone, but in preparedness, strategy, and understanding. Across the galaxy, whispers spread faster than light. Species that had never encountered humans spoke of them in hushed tones. Do not attack them, they warned one another. They are unpredictable. They adapt. And once they decide, they never let go. The aliens' respect for humans grew with every report, every observation. What began as curiosity and arrogance had turned into admiration and caution. Humans had survived tests, demonstrations, and confrontations without striking recklessly. Their reputation as relentless, precise, and adaptive strategists had spread across star systems. Thaler, watching the human fleets from orbit, felt a quiet pride. They are extraordinary, he murmured. The galaxy will learn eventually that humans are not just survivors. They are masters of adaptation, strategy, and persistence. To challenge them is to awaken something no species can easily control. On the human command station, Captain Elena Cross turned from the observation window, her face calm. The galaxy will respect us now, she said softly. Not out of fear alone, but because we have shown that intelligence, preparation, and persistence are stronger than raw power. We have won respect, not with weapons alone, but with strategy, discipline, and resolve. Lieutenant Rajiv Patel smiled. It seems the first lesson has been learned, Elena nodded. Yes, and the lesson is clear. Humans do not seek needless conflict, but we also do not forget and we never give up. The galaxy will remember this always. From that day forward, humans were no longer underestimated. Their quiet, persistent work, their careful preparation, and their strategic brilliance had earned them respect across the stars. Species that once dismissed them as weak began to approach with caution. Alliances were proposed rather than battles fought. Curiosity and respect replaced arrogance and fear. The Calarian Coalition, the very species that had first doubted Thalor's warning, now approached humans cautiously. They sought friendship and cooperation rather than conflict. They had learned, finally, that the humans were a force to be acknowledged, respected and treated with care. And somewhere, deep in the heart of human space, Captain Elena Cross and her crew continued their quiet work. The galaxy had learned its first lesson about humanity, but the humans knew there were more lessons to teach, more strategies to perfect, and more challenges to prepare for. One thing was certain: once humans engaged, they never let go. The galaxy had seen it, and it would never forget.